Welcome. Thank you all for being here.
Reader.
Oh, no problem. Well, thank you all for being here. I am glad you all showed up. I am not surprised at how many people are here, but I am glad you all showed up. And for you who don't know me, my name is Charles Thomas. I also have another name. I am also known by Brother Sadiq. I have a YouTube channel. It's called My Spiritual Experience. And I interview people on that channel with the intention of making spirituality a more common part of our life. I don't think that spirituality should be so mysterious and so mystical and so spooky and so in the closet and kind of scary to people. I think it should be part of a regular everyday conversation like what they call water cooler talk. And so with that being said, that is what initiated this meeting today. I have interviewed a number of people who I see as spiritually inclined and insightful and aware of the times that we're in. I think anybody who happens to be in the room today is somewhat spiritually inclined and aware of how our society seems to be coming apart at the seams. And what I'd like to do with this meeting is to gather those souls and those people who do recognize that we also have a part to play in the state of the world where we are and how we can affect change in it. I think a lot of us have a general sense of kind of almost a level of sadness that is related to seeing the state of the world, not recognizing that this is a socially engineered situation and that it can be transformed by us, the society. I think one of the problems is that we've accepted that we are not in control or that we don't have the power to affect change in our own lives and in the world. And I believe that science and spirituality are merging in our lifetimes, and that quantum physics shows us the influence and the effect of our own spiritual effectiveness and the breadth of our spiritual body to a degree, because quantum physics does this, and I don't know how technically aware most people are of quantum physics. It is basically a scientific wing that studies the smallest particles of existence. And so there is a double slit experiment that you can look up on the internet, and it is done with photons. And that is, from my understanding, the smallest particle of matter that they can measure. And so with the double slit experiment, there is what they get, and it's an effect known as the observer effect. The observer effect basically is saying that she who would, whatever soul is observing the experiment is also affecting the experiment, that their attention and the energy of their own being is a part of the process of whatever you get on the end of the experiment. And so that they are a part of the experiment, and so they measure this as the observer effect. And so the way I want to relate that to our own lives is due to the fact that we have an effect on everything that we pay attention to, that we focus on, that we speak on, any place that we pay attention or focus our attention or give attention to, we're affecting it. And this experiment kind of explains to us how and why we can feel people staring at us, or how we can stare at someone across the street and they'll turn around and look at us. And we recognize that they must have felt me staring. Now, no one's fully explained that to us, but that's what quantum physics is beginning to explain. Our energy, the spiritual energy that moves between us in what they call the ether or the divine matrix or this atmosphere that we live in. And so between myself and you all, there is energy transferring. And so this is what they're calling the observer effect. I hope I explained that sufficiently. I'm not a quantum physicist. I just study spirituality and recognize the associated assembly. So it's like, this looks like exactly what we're talking about. So I thought I'd try to explain that. But the importance of us coming together as what I call the God-Body Society. This world is being affected by unseen energies, negatively and positively, and I think that by us watching the world and not attempting to be, let me think of the word. So the idea is not to fight the world, not to fight what you see negative, not to fight or to push against what is negative, but I think our influence as the God-Body Society, as those people who are aware of how we're falling apart and how it's coming apart, have a duty and a responsibility to share our own visions, our own spiritual ideas, our own perceptions of what this world could be or what this world should be. We were all kind of born into this matrix, and I want to talk a little bit about that. The matrix is what I believe we were all kind of born into, and it relates to the design of the society. If you've ever seen the movie, it talks pretty much about us being born into a society where we have to pay taxes, we have to go to school, we have certain rules and social organizations that are part of our everyday lives. And beyond that, we seem to have no understanding of why we're here on this planet as souls individually. What is the purpose of this life? So the matrix gives you a set of rules, and most of us fall right into that set of rules, and we never reach our fullest potential. And the thing about my studies and the time that I've spent researching life, and I'm not as old as some people, but in my 52 years, I've learned a fair amount, and I've cared and concerned myself with the development of our species, of the human species, my own personal development, as well as the development of us as a body of being. So with all that being said, I think we have a purpose here, and our purpose is to reach our fullest potential. I think each one of us as individual souls have a life and a purpose on this planet, and that we're not being directed towards that. I think the school system limits our ability to express ourselves. I think our expression is our gift to the world. And this design, this matrix, this setup kind of limits us in our expression. And the problem with that is the world that we're living in, the world that we're watching, the society that we're seeing, and what's coming apart at the seams, we seem to feel helpless and changing. And so what I want us to remember is that because of this influence of our attention and our intention, our attention and our focus, that is a power in itself. And so this comes back to the idea of the quantum physics and our attention being a part of the experiment. What we pay attention to, we give life to, we give energy to, and we feed. And so by not giving attention and energy to our visions, we're feeding into the matrix. We're feeding into the fears that they're projecting towards us through the news, through television, through media, through wars. And we're not connecting to our own energetic body that can help to transform all of our personal lives as well as the global society in a whole. And so as far as the God-Body Society, I believe the God-Body Society are those souls who hold on to the light that was placed in them in their origination. I have a general idea that around 4 or 5 years old, most of us started to become jaded by the world. We had to put on layers of protection and layers of social engineering that helped us to navigate the world. But I believe at the core, there is a love that is afraid to be expressed. Because in the manners that we've had the opportunity to express it, it has caused us some pains. Some of us have suffered for attempting to be an open heart. And I think that is ultimately going to be our only saving grace, is to become those open hearts and to be open to the fullness of who we are as individuals, and to express ultimately into this world that which is placed in us, that original light, that original love, that original fire that says there is more to this life than my job and my education and the things that are related to making money. There is a spiritual purpose to life. And I have an idea that I don't want to get too religious about things, but if you go back, we can say what we say. We're saying we call it the God-Body-Society. So I believe in God. That's a gift. And I assume most of you believe in God as well. And so with that being said, I believe in origination, there was in his creation only the plants, the animals, and the humans. And so as a base education, it would seem that would be where we should start. And I think we've gotten so trapped in the makings of the matrix and the material things of this world that we've forgotten our connection to the natural parts of this world, our natural connection to Earth itself. And so by being detached for so long, so many of us have become far removed from our natural selves and reaching our highest potential. And in my opinion, the only way for us to reach our highest potential is to express ourselves at our fullest possible potential. And fear, I believe, a lot of fear comes from our social engineering, from what our parents would say, what our family might say, what the world might say if I tell you who I really am. And so there comes the dichotomy. Do I expose my heart and express myself in the fullness of who the Creator wanted me to be? Or do I guard myself and I live in this protected state because I recognize that the matrix is not a safe place? So I think that's where we are as a society. We've come to a point where we have to make a decision. And I think society in a whole is moving towards a transformation that we will not come back from. I don't think we're ever going to get back to the world of 2000 and 2010 or 2020. I think as we go forward, there will be extreme transformations, and that we will have to make extreme decisions about who we intend to be in this world as we go forward. And so I think the necessity of us coming together is about us putting our energies together, recognizing the unity of our souls, our intentions, our goals, our motivations, our desires for our individual selves, but for what we like to see as a community, in our neighborhoods as well as the world. And so the challenge, I think, is for us as a species to bring out the best parts of ourselves, the highest parts of ourselves, that which is connected to the light, that which is connected to other souls. And I'm hoping by us coming together today that, in fact, I'm going to not say hope, I'm recognizing that by us coming together today, we are definitely moving energy in the ethers that are toward a more positive world. Now, I don't want to speak much on the fears of the concerns of society and all of the negative things that are transpiring in society. But to the effect that we must be aware of them and conscious of how this is all moving, I think it is the necessity that we be conscious in that way, but not to let the effects of what it is be a negative drain on you, as much as it should be a motivation and an inspiration towards something that is better. And by us coming together, my intention and hopes is that we can begin to nurture and support one another's visions for that world that is better. Within each soul, I believe there are gifts and there are tools that we all share and that we can utilize within one another, and that will support one another towards our highest visions and the ability to give ourselves expression and hopefully bring a change into this world. I'm new to this, but I felt inspired and motivated to bring all of us together as much as possible so that we can start to move forward into a world that is other than the chaos that we see every day. So I thank you all for coming out, and I hope to see you again. We will be doing this again, hopefully on a regular, maybe 3-week basis, so that we can build a community and build unity and get more comfortable sharing our visions and our intentions and our will and what we feel we're here for, our personal purpose on the earth, and sharing and caring and working with each other and together for a better world. So that's my speech, and I'd like to share that, and I'd like to share our next guest, and that is Mrs. Stonier. So you have a good day. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to invite you guys to close your eyes with me. Just take a deep breath in. Slowly exhale. Another one. One more deep breath. I want you to think about something you're grateful for. And what that makes you feel in the body. Today I am so grateful for each and every one of you, for hearing the call and feeling the tug to be here. And I believe there will be more to follow. And I am so grateful for Charles and his vision and his heart and his courage to follow his calling, his tug. Are you ready? You can open your eyes. Come back. When Charles asked me to speak today, I was thinking a lot about the prompts he gave me. And I saw a common thread weaving in the tapestry of our conversation. And it was becoming the remembering. My vision of a better future begins in the now. A remembering of what we already know on a soul level. Because the truth is, every single one of us carries an inner knowing that is older than our fears and wiser than our doubts and more powerful than any circumstance that we face in life. Light is information, and darkness is the absence of it. And when we allow ourselves to embody the light, our truth, our intuition, our purpose, we stop living as victims of circumstance. And we begin living as creators of our lives. A better future isn't something that we wait for. It's something that we awaken to. It starts within each of us. This awakening reminds us of one of the greatest truths about who we are. Our human potential. Our human potential is infinite, not metaphorically, but truly infinite. We carry the universe within us, or on our shoulders. God source, spirit, the higher power, whatever you call it, it lives in us, and it breathes through us, and it guides us. And the more we awaken to that remembering, the more we realize our greatness isn't something that we strive for. It's something that we tap into. And to access that level of potential, we must be willing to step into the unknown. The unknown is where the miracles live. The unknown is where the soul speaks to us. The unknown is where the higher version of ourselves is waiting patiently to be chosen. Once we make that choice, we open the doors to the possibility of heaven on earth. My vision of heaven on earth is simple. It is a world where we live from our souls, where we choose our higher selves over our wounded self, where we choose love over fear, not once, not occasionally, but as a way of being. Heaven on earth is not a destination. It is a frequency, a state of remembering who we are, why we're here, and what we're capable of. The collective awakening to compassion, connection, intuition, and truth. Each of us showing up as our fullest, most aligned, most heart-centered selves. And every time, any single time, one of us chooses love. Every time one of us chooses healing. Every time one of us chooses courage over comfort, heaven on earth expands a little more. So I leave you with this. What would it take to let go? To let the old self, the fear, the doubt, the limitations, and embody the remembering of the higher version of you. What would it take to step into your soul, your truth, your divine potential, your birthright? Gratitude is the new attitude. Gratitude shifts our frequencies. Gratitude heals our lives from the inside out. And gratitude opens doors to everything we've asked for. The future that we dream of, the heaven on earth that we long for, the potential that we desire to embody, all of it starts with that one choice, to remember who we truly are. Thank you.
Well, this has been something new for me, this being on the microphone, but it's something I intend to do more often so I can get more comfortable and be able to share exactly and to give exactly and to relate exactly what is in my heart. I believe that the purpose for us being here is to express ourselves in our fullest capable possibilities, and that is basically pouring your heart out into this world. I believe that we've protected ourselves due to the way the world is set up, and that it is time for us to free ourselves from those levels of protection, because you'll never reach your fullest potential if you cannot express yourself to your fullest potential. And that is a given. I think that is a pretty actual fact. So I don't want to hold anyone much longer, but I did want to offer the opportunity for anyone else to share any thoughts or visions or intentions that they may have because I don't believe this is about myself or about Mrs. Stonier. This is about us all and about us reaching our heights. And I think the unity that is the human soul, the spirit of righteousness and light and good, and I guess, you know, I don't like isolating people by saying God. But people are sometimes in these times seeming like that is a reason to have conflict versus understanding that it is a unifying force that brought us all into existence, and that, you know, our highest purpose would also be related to that source. I feel like God is the mind that originated every one of us that is in existence, and that in that origination of you as a thought, that there was an intention. And our life is to discern through the matrix and the chaos of this world to determine our best form of giving back to this world that which was already in us. And so that is what this is about. This is about gathering the people in the community who are brave enough to share and brave enough to put their hearts forward and looking for support. I know that she is, and we're all looking for support to bring our visions into reality. And that is why I brought Mrs. Stonier, because I intend to help her with her dreams and her visions. And she is also helping me, and we intend to help you. So that is why we're all here. I won't hold you, as I said, much longer, but is there any other souls, anyone else who wanted to speak and share anything today? Because we will do this again in about 3 weeks. And so I don't see any hands. And so we are going to assume no one else has anything to say. Well, on the way out, there are bumper stickers that represent the God Body Society. Now, I say the God Body Society because I think that needs to be a more conscious part of our community. And I think that those people who are the hands and the tools and the souls who the Creator put here to bring these new stages and usher in the kingdom of heaven on earth. Just to be honest, that's what I'm talking about here. I feel like within all of us, we have a portion of the kingdom within us, and it is for us to nurture it and support each other in bringing these visions to the table. And so with that being said, there is the Shape the Matrix and a God Body Society out there. And I would love for you to take as many as you need and share them amongst your friends and whoever you think may be conscious. And let's make this world change. You know, I think we have the opportunity to do so. And by us coming together, it supports that. And this will be a strength in the world outside of what we see as it comes apart. Thank you all.